Hi, I am Chanchakar Gupta and we are discussing programming concepts. Today we are going to talk about command line arguments. We know that main is a casual function and it also can accept arguments similar to the other functions. But the arguments which are accepted by the main function are called command line arguments. How are command line arguments used and what are the advantages of having command line arguments in our program? Let's have a look. Let's try to understand command line arguments. We know that these are the arguments that are passed to the main function. Generally, when we try to write a function, we have to design it in such a way that it has to take any number of arguments and it can be of any type. For normal functions that are user defined functions, when we do specify a function, we can actually specify the formal arguments. With the help of formal arguments, we can actually specify the number of arguments and the type of arguments accordingly. But in the case of main function, it has to be predefined and it has to be present in every program. So we have to find a way so that any number of arguments and any type of arguments can be handled by the main function. And they came with an approach to solve this problem. They are trying to keep track of count that actually states as the number of arguments, and also we know that integer or character or even string, anything can be represented in the form of a string. So they are storing any argument that is passed in the form of a string with the help of an character pointer array. If you just remember the precedence that we have discussed earlier, we know that these four operands have highest priority and they have associativity from left to right. Both of them are having highest priority and it has to be associated from left to right. The star or dereferencing operator is actually associated with argv initially. So argv is a character pointer and they are having array. So it is an array of character pointers. Argv is actually an array and each and everything is a character pointer in this array. By keeping track of the count and by keeping track of the arguments in the form of strings, we can store any number of arguments and it can even be of any type. Command line arguments can be represented in these two methods. It can be specified with the help of an array or it can be specified with a multi-dimensional pointer. So to understand command line arguments better, we'll try to write a program using this. Consider this program. I have already written it. It actually is taking command line arguments. You have to understand these command line arguments are optional. These are required when you want to send something while you are compiling the program. Suppose you want to write a program that actually performs addition of 5 numbers, and if you are running or if you are writing the script for a grocery store, for example, you will be knowing about the products at that instance. So at each and every instance, we tend to change the products or the arguments that we need to send to the main function. In all these cases, you can make use of command line arguments. When I have written this program.c, I can compile it with gnn gcc compiler by writing gcc program name. This actually compiles and will put the executable code into a.out file. If I want to execute it, I can write with ./a.out. This actually executes the program and it initially prints this, hi, how are you? You need to understand this is the first command line argument. That means even though if you have specified or if you have not specified the command line arguments after the main function, you are actually making use of command line arguments. So the first argument that is always passed is the name of the program. Followed by that, you can actually send any number and any type of arguments. Let's take the same example. This is the program that I have written, and I am trying to send more command line arguments. Initially, I can write gcc program.c. This actually puts the executable code into a.out file. I can compile it with ./a.out. This is actually the first command line argument which is located at argv of 0. Now, I want to send some numbers so that I can perform the addition. Let's say I am sending 55, 65 and 70. It has to take 3 command line arguments. If you want to access any of these inside the program, you can access it by using argv of 1, argv of 2 and so on. As we are not aware of the length that will be sent at that instance, you can actually get the length of the array or the length of the command line arguments using argc. The last element of the command line argument can be accessed with argv of argc minus 1. This happens because we know that array indexing starts with 0. If you want to access these arguments, you can utilize this with the help of these statements inside the program. Now we have discussed a lot about command line arguments, and I think it's the right time to have the taste of advanced data structures. Let's try to discuss about trees, their traversal, everything in a very simple and effective manner in our next video. Stay tuned to find out.